What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, AV the Hero, back again with another video. Today's video, I want to talk about this interview that my guy Ballerverse just did with Lavar Ball. Super interesting, also very controversial. Has the Ballerverse on fire right now. Let's talk about it.
Triple B's! AV the Hero, back at it, baby.
All right, so the interview that I'm talking about is this one here. Lavar on Hornets, LiAngelo Lonzo injury update in response to recent media such and such. All right, so pretty interesting. I also think it's dope, and I did a video talking about this before, where sometimes you got to switch the title, switch the thumbnail. It has changed since this video was released, and has done more numbers because of it. So dope movement, dope content from your boy Ballerverse. In this video, we probably won't watch any clips from this. I just want to talk about this because I think it's opened up the door to some interesting conversations. Now, I will also say, I think that there is this thing that has happened with this, where LaMelo's off the court, LiAngelo's off the court, and Lonzo's off the court. So it is a great time for a Lavar Ball to drop this content to stoke the flames of the Ballerverse in fans and counter fans of the Big Baller brand and all of that stuff, right? It gets the conversation going. With this, I think if we go through, like, if you go, let's see, let me pull up here. You go through the comments here, you'll see that a lot of folks who watch this video definitely appreciate some of the stuff that Lavar Ball had to say in this interview, right? A lot of folks who are kind of champion and understand where he's coming from. Now, there are also a contingent of folks who don't get it, who don't understand it. And to me, it's such a weird dynamic because it feels a bit disingenuous at times. Now, what I realize is that I'll hear people, and I think it's so funny because it takes me back to when I first made my first ever Big Baller brand Lavar Ball family video. I'll call it a Ball family video. And it was because I was watching this news clip, and it was this media outlet someplace over in California, and they did this expose on the Ball family, and this reporter basically said at the end of it, so they did this thing, and Lavar was hyping up the boys and all of that stuff, and this reporter at the end of it basically said he found himself disliking Lonzo Ball because he didn't like Lavar so much, right? And to me, it was just a weird thing to say. It was actually, at that time, I felt like the movement that they had was starting to come on my radar, and I was watching them play basketball, and I was not, the shot form and all that kind of threw me off. But it was this conversation that people were having that intrigued me, because to me, I've heard this story of this dad and his three boys, and he was proud of them. He hyped them up, and he coached their team, and he's at the games, and he's just, and I thought that, how is this not something that we champion? How does this become something that we tear down? And so that was the moment in which I made my first video. Then where it continued, because I think I made that video and I like talking on camera, so I would then talk about all of these different sports related topics that had some cultural impact, but where it kept coming back to the Ball family was these different media clips that I would see, in which people would take things that they were doing and then extrapolate it like it was the worst thing in the world. So it was clips where you'd have people like a Matt Barnes or Jason Whitlock. All of these guys at the time would then say, LaMelo Ball leaving high school, his life is over. It's over. And for me, at the time, I was working at a youth shelter. I told the story before. what I noticed was at the same time I'm listening to people have this conversation on the national stage, when I'm working with kids in the community, I'm listening to me tell a kid who is kicked out of school, who just got fired from his job at Taco Bell, a kid who really, really wanted to be on a football team and got kicked off, these kids who have been removed from their own family, and I'm hearing them say to me the same things that I were hearing the media say about LaMelo Ball, a kid who was already on his way to being a millionaire, a kid who was riding around town in a Lamborghini with his own reality TV show, a kid who seemed to have it all. His brother was on the way to the NBA, was playing and already had scholarships to Division I schools. And I was listening to adults tell him his life was over. It was ruined. And I'm at the same time hearing kids who are dealing with actual real world problems tell me that it's over for them. Their life is ruined. And I'm trying my hardest to speak life into those kids. And I realized that it was a great opportunity for me to then add perspective and context to what I felt like was happening to them. Because if LaMelo Ball's life is ruined because he missed his senior prom, then how can I tell some kid who missed his senior year his life ain't ruined? He still got an opportunity. He still got somewhere to go. He still got something to fight for, something to dream for. And so that was the precipice of the conversation that we started having on this channel. Now, as that went along, it opened up doors and opportunities for me to be able to meet the family and then hang out with them and do all this stuff and travel and have an experience for myself that I felt like was I'll say life changing. Gave me perspective, gave me opportunities that I probably would not have had or realized that were at my fingertips had not I had went down that journey. And it's so funny because when I look at this Ball Facts interview and I listen to some guys or people, my man DePope, who I think is who I appreciate a ton for his perspective on these things, because I feel like there are times where we'll have conversation, disagree, and that'll be it. Right? We'll have conversation, don't agree. We go back and forth for a while and then we can move on. And so I really appreciate that, right? No matter how much I'll say this thing, he might say something else or whatever. We even did videos and things on this channel where we talked and went back and forth. So I appreciate and respect him like that. Never decided that he had to block me or do nothing like that. Actually, and so all of that jazz. So I appreciate it. But I think that one of the things that I've heard that feels so familiar from this, what I was getting from the media that kicked this channel off, is this ideal of the things that are actually happening should not be celebrated, right? When I look at a LaVar Ball, who, and let's keep in mind, I played high school football, I played college football, and I always had the dream to play professional. Did not obtain that. I did some arena stuff and some other things of that nature, tried out with some stuff, but did not necessarily do it. But I will say this, one of the big things is, as I was shooting my whole life, I felt like to be an NFL player. When I didn't do it, one of the things that I did was I never told people that I played college football. I never talked about any accolades, any positive experiences I had from that, because I thought like I didn't achieve the goal. I didn't hit the mark. And what happened is I would know people for a considerable amount of time, and somehow they would go through my pictures on Facebook or hear something and then find out that I played Division I football and be like, "What, bro? You did that? Oh my God. Why you didn't tell me? I didn't even know," all of this stuff. And it was in those moments that I realized that I had actually achieved something that most people would love to achieve but can't do it. Most people have set the goal to even get to that ladder and that I got to, that rung on the ladder that I got to, and couldn't do it. And here I am acting as if I'm ashamed that I didn't make it to the final destination, but I had to learn how to appreciate where I had landed. And so I think it's so funny sometimes where I hear what I believe to be a disingenuous arguments about Lavar and what he does to the co and whoop. When I look at the actual life that I see people living on a day-to-day basis, and I think to myself, if they had an ounce of that, it would be a success story. For me, coming from where I come from, my little bit of success is a success story. When I was doing that traveling with them and I went back home, there were people who were proud of me simply because I had got to go to a different country. Because I was over in Russia, I was in Belgium, I was doing these things. There were guys who I knew who legitimately never are going to go do that and won't even dream that they could do it because it's not possible for them in their own eyes. And they said, bro, it's so crazy that somebody from our neighborhood, our side of town achieved that. And so my thing for you all is that don't fall for the 52 fake and believe that the achievements that you have in your own life are not worth celebration. LeVar Ball made it to Division I basketball. Did he have the greatest amount of success? Probably not. But I know guys right now who have played, who walked onto teams, paid their own money, took pictures, played in one game on their senior night, and that was the greatest story that they will go on to tell people game in and game out, and then have used that knowledge to go do other things. That's a success story in their eyes. I know guys who, to this day, their profile picture is the one game that they got to play in an NFL preseason, and they are excited about it and will tell you about it to this day. That's a success story in their eyes. I, for my own, never got to do that. I never got to go to NFL Europe. I never got to go play in the CFL. I never got to play in the NFL or participate in a practice in the NFL. And I'm telling you that if I would have gotten to do that, I would be thankful. Today, if they call me and say, bro, come try out, I would be elated. I would tell y'all about it, and I would tell everyone. It's a success story. I have my own son. The fact that my son will eventually graduate from high school, to me, is a success story. To go to college, my own life is a success story because some of the things, and so that's my biggest thing. This is all content. This is all entertainment in some regard. But don't let it impact and affect the way that you view life. That's my thing. That's what I want from most of y'all to take away from this stuff and these conversations. When you go and look at a guy like Ball Facts, and I see him start a channel, not know LeVar Ball at all, not have no relationship with them, build a YouTube that's over 100,000 subscribers, that's a success story. I know where this man come from. I talked to him, and I know that that's a success story, and that's something that should be championed. So I just say that to you all. Really put in perspective life. There are precious moments in the life that we live. There are these experiences that will shape who you are. There are trials and tribulations. There are things that you will do at some point and then go back and say, I shouldn't have done that. But these moments don't necessarily define you. They help create who you are. Create the best you can create and understand the journey that you're on. That's my message to y'all. My man LeVar has created and been the catalyst of something that most of us would dream to be about. Let me tell you this. A couple weeks ago, I was at this I told y'all I do some filming and stuff. So I was filming at this conference, right? And this is a conference, pharmaceutical company. People in there, upwards of 100,000 a year, listening to these people talk. And one of the exercises that they did, they put on the screen this Mercedes-Benz Maybach. And the lady said, what I want you to do is think about the driver and the owner of this Maybach, right? And they say, what is he wearing? A suit. What job does he have? Something professional, a lawyer, a doctor. What is his favorite pastime? Everybody said golf. They called out all of these things. And for me, I looked at the car and I said, I rode in that car before. And the dude who owned the car don't look nothing like that. Not a doctor, not in a suit, not in the such and such. Achieved it because he poured into his boys. Not unintentionally, intentionally, wasn't by accident, poured into his boys and created a situation in which he is blessed from today. A situation in which they are blessed from today. A situation in which we can get on here and we can debate whether or not LaMelo Ball is the best ball brother, or Jello is the best ball, Alonzo was the best ball, or should you went to this team, or should you have went to that team, or you shouldn't have went here. But at the end of the day, when you look at life, there's success there. LiAngelo Ball might not ever play ball for an NBA game, but I can guarantee you that there is 100 million guys right now, 20-year-olds. I don't know if there's 100 million 20-year-olds globally. There's 100 million 23, 24-year-olds who would slap me and your mama for an opportunity to play in the preseason for the NBA, even if only for a few minutes. I just want to keep perspective on this conversation because I think it's important. Shemaine, man, AB the Hero. We finna get up out of here. Peace.